Apple's new Mac Mini power supply PCB has cutouts to house components and reduce the height, a costly approach, but necessary to reduce the overall size. It is astonishing how Apple employed a truckload of techniques to reduce the footprint of its redesigned Mac Mini, and the company never bothered to talk in depth on how it achieved this feat. Then again, the Cupertino giant did not need to. Not when curious YouTubers got a hand on these units and performed the disassembly. One of them noticed that the power supply unit's PCB has separate cutouts so that the components can pass through those openings instead of being soldered on the top, which helps save space, but it is also an expensive process. The exact figure not mentioned on how much it would cost Apple to make separate cutouts for each Mac Mini power supply, but it is the same approach the company took for the more expensive Studio display. Apart from sporting a design that has no equal, the Mac Mini's power supply unit has components that have been meticulously placed and horizontally aligned to save space. However, YouTuber Quinn Nelson, who runs the channel Snazzy Labs, discovered the cutouts on the PCB and mentioned that it is an incredibly advanced and pricey technique to help reduce the product's footprint. The same approach was applied to the Studio display, but the latter is incredibly expensive compared to the $599 starting price of the Mac Mini. There are other ways that helped Apple successfully reduce the Mac Mini's size, such as moving the power button to the bottom of the chassis, which the company's executives state is not such a big deal because all that is required is tucking the finger to power it on. Additionally, the use of a spiraling heatsink and a separate mini motherboard that houses the Wi-Fi and Bluetooth chip are other ways that help successfully reduce the Mac Mini's size. Of course, perhaps the most puzzling question is, despite Apple employing intricate engineering techniques, how did it introduce a $599 starting price for the M4 Mac Mini, and that too while offering 16 GB of unified RAM? The answer lies in the premium the company charges if you want to increase your memory or storage. We reported earlier that Apple charges the exact same price for a base M4 Mac Mini if you want to double the existing RAM and internal memory, but Amazon has made things simpler for consumers. The base version with 16 GB unified RAM and 256 GB storage can be yours for $549 after a $50 discount. And if you want double the storage at 512 GB, this configuration is available on the online retailer for just $744. Sadly, the M4 paired with 24 GB RAM and 512 GB storage is yet to be discounted, but if you want the M4 Pro variant with the exact RAM and internal memory, a $30 price cut reduces the compact computer's price to $1,369.